Hello,
Good.
guys, and welcome back to the United Embassy. Today, we're here to do the Manchester United versus Southampton preview. I'm Harry, and this is Struan Garvey.
Struan, hello. Nice to be back.
Right, we're going to try and cut down the video. From last time, it was an hour. This time, we're shooting for half an hour. So, where should we
On the
start?
clock.
We'll talk about the Leeds victory.
Yep.
So how were you
You.
against Leeds? What was your impressions?
What a performance! I mean, you summed it up in the review video. We were excellent. There were so many elements to the team. It was just nice. We beat Chelsea on the opening day a couple of years ago 4-0, but for me, this was one of the best opening day victories we've had. And I feel there was just so much to this game. Obviously, there was the 5-1 victory, amazing. It's over Leeds, a rival. That's also amazing. First full Old Trafford in about 12, 18 months, amazing. Rafael Varane got announced before the kickoff, which, in my opinion, is just. I know a lot of people were giving the social media account stick for not unveiling it soon,
I
which,
was.
I'll be honest, it was a bit annoying because everybody knew it had happened. I think they announced it on the 27th of July on the Twitter account to say that they'd made an agreement. We then saw Varane saying goodbye to his teammates. It got the Fabrizio Romano "Here we go" as well. It was basically seemingly done, and it just dragged and dragged. We knew it was going to happen, but it was definitely worth the wait. Just to see him come out holding the shirt, I thought was absolutely excellent. And it just got the fans going 10 minutes before kickoff. And I thought from Varane's point of view, that is just so much better than any social media announcement because you've actually got 70,000. Well, some of the Leeds fans probably wouldn't have been, but they should be. It's Varane, he's amazing. 60, 70,000 fans screaming for you in the stadium before you've even worn the shirt. It must have been excellent. But the performance was amazing. Pogba was just out of this world. When he missed that chance earlier on, I was really worried. I thought this is just going to be, he's going to get torn apart on social media. It was the total opposite. He was absolutely fantastic. Fernandez scored three incredible penalties. I was so impressed with his performance once again. It was
Long
Harry
range
Maguire
penalties,
made that
long range
joke as
penalties.
well. Oh yeah, they were absolutely cracking. Sent the keeper the wrong way. And Greenwood, what a performance from him as well. And I feel a couple of players who a lot of people want to be replaced in the team. Obviously, McFred divide opinion. Lindelof doesn't look like he's going to be a star either. I thought McTominay, Fred, Lindelof were all excellent. So it's hard to criticise. I think the only criticism would be Man United didn't keep a clean sheet. And yeah, but again, it was a wonder goal from Luke Ayling. I'm not sure anybody can really say they should have done better in that scenario.
I would say definitely Paul Pogba and Bruno, obviously the outstanding candidates for the man of the match, and as I said in the preview, but Greenwood deserves credit, Lindelof deserves credit. I cannot fault anyone, and let's be honest, Luke Ayling's goal was a wonder goal. Like, you can't stop it really. So in
Yeah.
terms of
That'll be nominated
performance,
for goal of the month in the season.
yeah, like
It's one of
in
them.
terms of performance, completely undoubtable. And again, it was a thing where I was worried about fitness, and I think that was proved. I think I was right in terms of being worried about fitness because we played a preseason game against Burnley like 2 days ago. It was warm up. So if that doesn't say anything, then I think Ollie also agreed. But we matched them, and that was surprising as
Mm.
well. And McFred did the work again in midfield. So, and I can't believe it. Fred Ronaldinho Jr. has scored another goal. He scored two now. Well, one in preseason, but one in against Burnley
Ridiculous. The
last week.
finish is insane for his
Yeah.
goal against Leeds. The first touch finish is really, really good. Like, I can't believe he's scored off the bat. I mean, he won't score for the rest of the season probably, but at the
No,
same time,
no.
amazing.
One or two
I'm
goals.
happy for Fred.
Yeah, I should probably
Yeah.
touch on the fact that we did play a preseason game behind closed doors against Burnley this week. Was it 2 days ago? Or was it yesterday? I can't remember.
Yesterday at the time of
Yesterday, yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
So today's Wednesday, it was Tuesday.
So it was Tuesday the 17th. Well, we won 3-1. Maguire. I was on Maguire or Martial. People don't really know who got the
I
goal.
think it got officially given to Martial, but at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah, whatever.
it's like,
Fred scored again. And who's the other goal scorer?
Lingard got the first, I
Oh,
believe.
Lingard, yeah, he did, yeah. So we won 3-1. I don't know who scored for them. I don't really care.
No, I've never seen anyone report that.
No, it was just 45 minutes on the pitch for pretty much every first team member. Obviously, buy, you play. Rafa Varane didn't give a shout out. But Rafa Varane, come on. I'm just so excited to see him play in a United shirt. It's literally the big question, isn't it? Does he play today? Does he play today? Does he play against Southampton?
I can't decide. I mean, he's Rafael Varane. He's one of the top centre halves in world football. What a signing that was! Unbelievable. But at the same time, Lindelof was excellent against Leeds United, and I feel it's a bit harsh to take him out of the team. We were speaking just before we started recording that it's so nice to have good centre half options because for the past couple of seasons, it's just been Maguire and Lindelof, and occasionally Eric Bailly, if he's fit, would come into the team. But we would often discuss who's going to make the fewer mistakes. Now we're talking about who's going to make the more impressive performance because we've got such good centre halves at the moment. I think I would keep Lindelof just because I think I'd keep Varane training a little bit longer. Obviously, he didn't play against Burnley. It'd be a bit of a shame to throw him right in at the deep end. Southampton aren't exactly the best of teams in the Premier League at the moment, but they are still quite an intense team. You know, they've got really good options up front, a lot of pace all around the team. Might be a bit. Yeah, it might be a bit of a difficult start for Varane to come in. So I think Lindelof should start this game. But again, it could be one of those where, depending on the scoreline, I could see Varane be subbed on, which is rare for a centre half to be subbed on, but 20, 30 minutes. But I would fully expect him to start against Wolves in the fixture after. But for me, in the Southampton game, I'd stick with Lindelof and Maguire. What about yourself?
I feel like I would choose Lindelof. First of all, Varane's been back in training. I understand that. Does he fully understand the system? Yeah, probably not. And as well, I kind of in a way trust Lindelof and Maguire, and especially in a game where Southampton do like to press. I think they are trusted when it comes to passing the ball out the back now. They definitely have a connection there. And to kind of drop Lindelof out of this squad against after that Leeds performance, he wasn't outstanding. I'm not saying he was definitely not the star player of that game, but he definitely didn't make any mistakes. He didn't lose possession of the ball, and he just was very solid. And that for me as a centre back partnership is very, important, and you need to kind of have this trust between your centre backs. And then to Maguire and Lindelof, I do trust them to kind of pull out this performance against Southampton. It's not a strong Southampton. I mean, they've got your favourite boy Che Adams, but that's about it. That's all I can think of in terms of attacking threat.
Stuart Armstrong as well. Two great Scots.
Oh God, Jesus. No. All I hope we don't do is give away free kicks, and that is the reason I don't think Bayer will touch his team against Southampton.
He got a booking in the 3-1 friendly game against Burnley, which is just...
I think he was the only player to get a yellow card for United in the pre-season. I can't think of anyone else.
Probably was, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me. But as you say, I think that's the real threat with Southampton. And we know ourselves, set pieces were just our problem last year. Luckily, Southampton have sold Vestergaard, who 6'6" was just a nightmare for offensively. But at the same time, I think Ward-Prowse would probably just stick it into the top corner any point. So
he'll take an opportunity, he's not going to miss it.
And even from corners, Ward-Prowse is such a good dead ball specialist. I don't like conceding a corner with De Gea in goal. It just gives me the fear of the fact he just stays on his line. And if it really does worry me. I like De Gea, but at the same time, I get the fear from him. But I think one of the positions in the game against Leeds was Daniel James. Now, he made an incredible last-ditch tackle. Well, no, it wasn't last-ditch, but it was sort of on the transition to just deny Leeds' counter-attack. And Leeds, they're such a threat, but at the same time he was a little bit wasteful up front. That's the story of Dan James's Man United career. He gets into the positions excellently, he carries the ball, he tracks back, but when it comes to the final third, he doesn't seem to be able to make the right decision. And obviously now we have signed one of the best young right wingers in world football, Jadon Sancho. He's finally come. I said I don't think Varane's going to start this game. I think Sancho is going to be the only change to the lineup. I'm giving a wee bit of a spoiler for later on in the episode, but I think Sancho does come into this game. I think this is a good opportunity for him to come in.
I think,
and whether it's off the left or the right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the biggest thing about that Leeds victory, it was, you see James getting opportunities on the right, and it was especially in the first half. They had this opportunity where he cut it back instead of just having a shot at goal, and that really annoyed me. I sat there. The first thing I thought of, and I think most Manchester United fans thought of, was if that was Sancho, we're 1-0 up. And it wasn't that Daniel James had a bad game. It's just that he's not going to be the player that Jadon Sancho is, and that is just the end of it. So, I was also excited. I'm also very excited just to see him, get minutes. And I also think, a bit of spoiler, I also think he will play today. Start. I don't think he'll play the full 90 minutes though. But anyway.
I think he'll take a few games to get a full 90 minutes under his belt. I reckon like 60, 70 potentially. Again, I wouldn't even be surprised at all. I think he'll start, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we stick with the exact same lineup and he comes on possibly a bit earlier, like half time, maybe 50 minutes or something like that. If he gets a bit of an earlier introduction, but I'd like him to start. But if we go back to last season, our two results against Southampton in the Premier League were possibly two of my favourites because the first one away at St Mary's, we were 2-0 down at half-time. De Gea got subbed off because he ran into the post trying to save the Ward-Prowse free kick. We were all over the shop. It was disastrous. Cavani subbed off, and this was sort of Cavani's introduction to the Man United team. He'd scored against Everton, but Previously, he'd only come on for 10 minutes here or there. A lot of people were doubting the signing. A lot of people were angry at it. On he came. Within a few minutes, he'd assisted Fernandez to make it 2-1, and then he scored two headers, one of them after the 90th minute to win the game 3-2. And that was sort of our first comeback as well. Last season, obviously, we fell behind far too often, but more than not, we were able to come back and still win games. That was sort of the first one, and it just made me think this is the striker, this is what we've been missing. Somebody who's just going to get on the end of crosses, who's just a real danger man in the box. And then our other victory over Southampton was the 9-0 at home, which was possibly it was our most comfortable victory of the season. Again, Cavani scored, Wan-Bissaka scored, Martial got two. Everybody was getting on the action. James got the ninth one. So, what did you make of the performances against Southampton last season? Because for me, they were two very different results, but they were two of my favourites that we had. Just such enjoyable games.
There were two impressive results in very different ways. I think the ability to come back definitely started then. I think I didn't even get to watch the full game, but I remember I was at work and I pretty much had like notification on my phone, and I remember just looking at it and I was seeing Eddie Cavani. And I just pretty much got home and I pretty much watched the full 90 minutes from that point. And I was like,
It was worth it.
It was totally worth it. And I remember watching the game, and after I got back, and the first thing I thought of was because I was supportive of Eddie Cavani signing, but I didn't think he was gonna kind of hold the reins as much as he has. He kind of has played more minutes than I thought he would. I thought he would come in for him, like big games when we need goals, and that would be it, because I didn't think his fitness would be outstanding. And to be honest, it kind of has been outstanding, especially for his age. But his impact definitely started around then, and coming on, getting the assist and two goals really impressed me in that 3-2 victory. The 9-0 win, it probably doesn't impress me as much as it should, just because they had 10 men from the very early stages. I mean, if that's 11 versus 11, that's a different gravy, isn't it? But they just capitulated as soon as that red card happened. Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they went down to 9 as well. Bednarek scored an own goal, gave away a penalty, and got sent off. Yeah, perfect hat trick.
What a guy! Stopped playing for Man United. But we full on won that game because they just capitulated the moment they scored. The moment they got a red card, and that for me tells me less than the 3-2 victory. The 3-2 victory will tell me more about the type of side we're going to play against today. I mean, they'll have improved. Is that a question? They have lost Danny Ings. Which is probably a bonus for United, let's be honest. He probably score against us though for Villa. But the 3-2 victory, I reckon we can definitely look at that today and go in with some confidence, and especially given the fact that their pressing system should not work very well. We want to press a bit higher. They've lost Vestergaard. We have a set piece specialist as a coach. All these things that they basically had on top of United last season, even when we won 3-2. We've kind of negated a bit more this season, and that makes me confident for today.
I think as well, when you look at that Southampton team, a lot of people are actually worried about their safety in the Premier League because they've lost Ryan Bertrand, their captain. He's also gone to Leicester. They've lost the best centre-half in Vestergaard. They've lost the best player in Danny Ings. It's a few losses all over the pitch, and obviously James Ward-Prowse is a wanted man, but they have replaced Danny Ings pretty quickly, to be honest, with Adam Armstrong, who arrived in the summer from Blackburn Rovers, and he scored on his debut in the opening weekend against Everton. It was a 3-1 defeat. They've also re-signed Theo Walcott, of course. Che Adams mentioned represented Scotland at the Euros, and
Liverpool legend Nathaniel Klein.
Is he there as well?
I think he's there.
I'm going
to check that. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they have got some danger men up front. But do you think that's what we need to be aware of? Because one thing I've noticed about Adam Armstrong was he was quick, and obviously we know how quick Theo Walcott can be, and Che Adams is pretty quick as well. And the rate of passing that James Ward-Prowse can produce, I'm really worried that we're gonna get caught out with a high line here, just sort of in between the phase where if we are going to press higher and De Gea stays back, I'm a bit worried about the gap in behind. Do you think that could be Southampton's sort of threat, just the danger of the strikers up front? Because we should dictate the play. We've got the players to do it. We shouldn't be too worried, but we previously mentioned free kicks as well being another element that we just cannot give away. Just let them have a shot. Let them have a one-on-one with De Gea. I'd fancy De Gea's chances more in a one-on-one than I would against a James Ward-Prowse free kick. I think that sums it up, to be perfectly honest.
Just find out Nathaniel Klein plays for Crystal Palace. So there are no Liverpool legends around here anymore. No, to be honest, I think a high pressing style, moving on to the season, is definitely something that Ollie wants to go through, and you can kind of see it with the way that we're playing a bit more. But I do think if we do get caught out with the pace they're going to have and run behind, Aaron Bissaka is the first point of call when it comes to that. Let's be honest, he'll be the player making the recovery challenge. It won't be Maguire. If it is Maguire, I don't know who the hell's running through for Southampton because they're getting outpaced by Harry Maguire. However, if we do get caught with Maguire, I don't know how this Maguire runs forward and passes the ball forward. Say he makes a mistake or they intercept the pass and get rid of the ball quickly. If they give James Ward-Prowse a second to pick his head up, find Adam Armstrong or Che Adams running in behind, we could cause some genuine problems for us. And like you said, David De Gea won't be leaving his line. He will let the player go into a one-on-one before he tries to make the save. And
He's glued to it. I feel he always has one foot glued to the white line.
yeah, he seriously does. And I think we will miss Hendo for that today. I feel like it will be a genuine situation where they're going to try and curl balls over the top of the defence and get players running in behind. I tell you what, Theo Walcott does stress me out a little bit. And they do have Theo Walcott, right? I'm not being... Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I think he signed permanently from Everton this summer.
Theo Walcott will stress me out a little bit. I know he's getting on. I know he's lost a bit of his pace. But we saw it in the Leeds victory. Luke Shaw did get caught out a few times by Rafinha. He was disappointing, Rafinha. He did have a bit of a bad game. He missed an open chance. But towards the end of the game. But Luke Shaw, the amount of times that he does get forward, it does leave space. And again, like I said, if you do have a slower back four without Varane today, Luke Shaw being forward, Aaron Masako may have to make more recovery challenges, and he's probably a bit more dependent on today than in terms of a defensive result. I'm not too stressed though. I'm pretty confident about today. And then again, most of the time I'm confident we tend to lose. So that says it all.
It's difficult to be confident with this United team because, as you say, the worst results just come out of nowhere when you're not expecting it at all.
The main threat is James Ward-Prowse. It's just it's pretty much the main focus. If you definitely want to avoid conceding today, don't give away free kicks. Don't give away free corners. Like, don't give them away for free, because if you do, you make silly mistakes passing around the back and you get caught out and you give a corner away. They will probably cost us, and they haven't got. They might not have a weak team. They probably lost Vestergaard, a lot of physicality there, but Bender still gets to the end of corners, and they're definitely going to fight for. I mean, if they still had Højbjerg, they'd be a lot more dangerous, but that was 2 seasons ago now. But they definitely pose a corner threat, and they definitely will pose a free kick threat.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, I'd watch out for long shots. I think quite a few. I feel like I'm just slagging off De Gea this whole episode, but it takes a while to sort out his feet. And I think quite a few players in the league are now sort of clocked onto that. That if I shoot early, I've got a better chance of going in before De Gea can position himself. But we've kind of given hints away throughout this episode. What's your predicted 11? I assume we're going to stay with the 4-2-3-1 formation, but
Yeah.
who fills in the roles?
Well, okay, so we'll go through it position by position if you want. So my goalkeeper's David De Gea.
Yeah, it's got to be De Gea, I think.
My 2 centre halves, I've gone for Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof over Varane.
Same.
Luke Shaw left back, Aaron Bissaka right back. My 2 DMs, I've got 2 DMs, so Fred and Scott.
Yeah, and the same. I wouldn't be surprised if Matic and Donny van de Beek
I
play this game,
literally
though.
thought that when I was choosing this. Here's the thing. Apparently, Van de Beek played very, very well against Burnley midweek. I have read multiple reports about him impressing Ole, and he's grown physicality this season. So if I see him play,
and Matic were excellent against Everton in the
So if I see him play today, and I think especially with like Southampton aren't necessarily going to go out there and try and score 4. I mean, Van der Beek, if it's a game to play 1 DM, today's arguably a game, and to have Van der Beek and I don't know Fred or Scott would not be an issue with myself. I would personally be pretty happy with it. He's still going to do a job at rotating the possession. So if it was Fred Van der Beek and I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes in that number 10, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But Fred and Scott is what I expect.
Yeah, I think I'd stick with McFred as well, to be honest. I could see Matic and Donny just because, as we said about the counter-attack threat, you maybe want that experience of Matic to just sort of sit back and hold the defence when we kind of switch into that 3-1-6 when we've got the ball. But equally, I just think McFred played so well against Leeds, it's difficult to see them dropped. The front 3 I've got in behind that are Sancho, as previously mentioned, on the right. I think he'll be the only change. I think he'll come in for Daniel James. Pogba on the left in that free role. You cannot drop Paul Pogba after that performance against Leeds, and obviously the number 10 would have to be that Fernandes fellow.
Yeah, that Fernandes fellow ain't too bad, is he? He's really not. Number
Not at
nine.
all.
Number
Gives the
9.
ball away too much though for my
Oh, he
liking.
does.
I
He
can't
does.
can't be dealing
He
with
doesn't.
that.
He just makes too many risky plays. He doesn't keep the possession. Um,
I hate it when they do that.
Number 9, Mason Greenwood for me. Um,
Yeah,
just,
easily.
he's
Just
he's
so good.
better than Martial now. That's funny to say.
I think he's second choice
No.
at striker. Oh, Cavani's still the best. Cavani's
Yeah,
like elite. Well, not world class, but top class.
that's
It's
top class.
difficult. Greenwood is just amazing. You know, like it's
I
hard
saw
to
Willie Ferdinand
really.
compliment today about saying if he was at the England squad, he would have made a bigger impact than any of the United players off the bench. Which is something.
I think that's fair. I think he's the best finisher in the England team after Harry Kane, and I'd make an argument that if he does have a really strong season as the number 9, I think he should be England's second choice behind Harry Kane. I think Danny Ings, Calvert-Lewin, Ollie Watkins are all good, but I think Greenwood has just got so much potential, and he's about 4 or 5 years younger, 10 just about. I think he's like 9 years younger than Danny Ings, so
Is he at 30
I
goals
think
already
he's
for United?
yeah, it's ridiculous. He's fifth in the all-time Premier League scoring for teenagers. He's got 18 behind Michael Owen, who's got 46 because Michael Owen was just mad at that point. He was absolutely ridiculous in the league. Other names there that we know, such as Wayne Rooney as well. So he's in very good company, to be honest.
He's an absolute monster. Yeah, like you, I've gone Pogba on the left, Sancho on the right, Bruno at 10. We'll talk about Pogba individually as a role in a future video, but Paul Pogba is going to be, again, crucial for United this season, I think. And his contract situation needs to be sorted ASAP. I'd rather know now if he's leaving at the end of the season or if he's signing a new contract, because it's just annoying.
Yeah.
If I have to sit here...
You don't want to get attached to him,
Yeah.
knowing that he could leave.
If I sit here every morning and go, oh, there's a newspaper, right? And Pogba's leaving next day, Pogba's staying next day, Pogba's leaving. I just can't be bothered with it.
It's a nightmare, and it's a different club every day, isn't it? It's PSG one day, then it's Juventus, because it'll be on a free transfer. Any team makes sense to be linked to
Apparently PSG
Barcelona, Real Madrid.
£60,000 a week, so
Yeah, not like they need another midfielder or anything at the moment, but yeah, it's you just want it sorted as soon as possible. And I saw a really good point that somebody made on Twitter, and I think this is totally fair. Is that I've personally seen the phrase "that was Pogba's best game in a United shirt" more than I ever have since the start of 2021 under Solskjaer. You know, I think under Jose Mourinho there was possibly like 3 good performances, the 3-2 over Man City, but under Ollie, I think there's been a plethora of times that you could say that's been Pogba's best game in a United shirt, and again at the weekend against Leeds.
The Fulham game.
Yeah, the 2-1 Fulham. He was absolutely excellent. I thought Villa last season as well when we won 2-1. He was incredible. He was really good in the Roma 6-2. Good in the AC Milan when he came off the bench. He's just having so many games. I think Ollie is. Yep, West Ham, another one he changed that game. I think Ollie has just found his best position. You know, we always ask where's Pogba's best position. I think this free roll off the left hand side is the best because he can basically roam, he can do what he wants, he can dictate the play. He doesn't need to do the defensive work, which I think is always what's let him down. I think he gives the ball away too much close to the defence, which I think is a bit risky, and his defending isn't good enough. But when you see what he can do up front, he's just a world-class player.
I think, in a way, it's kind of been obvious and staring us in the face the entire time what his best position is. I mean, he played at Juventus. Oh, God, I just need to hit my desk over. Yeah, I think he played it at Juventus, and I think he's doing that at United. Says it all, really. He's basically played there. Yeah, so we'll do a predicted scoreline, and we'll probably end on some transfer rumours. Yeah, so what is your predicted score for today? I've not even thought about this, but yeah, what's your predicted score for today?
I'd love to say 2-0. Just a comfortable 2-0. The clean sheet is sort of what I want. Yeah, I'm a bit worried though because I think it's just so hard to call Southampton because we've not had the best of luck against them. I mean, we did beat them twice last season, but the season prior to that we drew. We've had a few losses to them in annoying fashion in the past. So I'm going to go for a 2-0, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do concede though at the same time. But I'm hoping. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to stick with a 2-0.
Thinking about it quickly, I think we're going to go 3-1. I think we've improved on last year. Just from coaching standards, not even necessarily player signing. Obviously, Sancho's coming today. I'm probably going to come into. Why do I keep saying today? We're not playing today. Obviously, Sancho's probably going to play, but I do think it would just be a 3-1 win, and I probably see Sancho getting an assist, no goals. So, I would like a steady start, and conceding a goal. It's probably just me a situation in my head where I'm thinking 1 goal, 1-1. 2-1, 3-1. Classic United at this point,
That's
isn't it?
that's that's how we do it. We don't like to build up a lead. We either like to go behind and come back, or we like to have a 1-0 and throw it away, and then we have to once again come. We don't like being comfortable in games. We didn't do it
We throw
enough
it
last
away.
season.
We throw it away. We just. I wish I could say 2-0 like you, but I just don't think it will happen. And especially, to be fair, we do have prime Kaka and CDM, so we should probably win about 8-1. But Fred just got his Portuguese passport, not Portuguese, Brazilian passport back from Brazilian embassy, so he has just turned back into, I'm afraid, Zinedine Zidane regen. It's just he's everything now. Honestly, he's the world class player. I don't want him sold at all. Anyway, talking about sales, rumours about many players. Ahmad's probably going on loan. Where do you see him going?
Yeah, I think that's. Oh, I just want to play. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind the club. I know Crystal Palace have been linked, Basel have been linked, Sheffield United came in recently. I'm okay with all of them. Possibly not Sheffield United, but I just want to get minutes off the right hand side. To be honest, I think a loan's a good move. I know a lot of people say that we should possibly get rid of Dan James ahead of him. I'd personally keep James at the moment. I
I agree.
think Ahmad is the type of player who is pointless to just keep and sub him on for like 6, 7 appearances this season. Given his age, you want him to be playing regularly. Whereas Dan James, at the same time, I think he's okay with that bench and squad role. Ahmad is a superstar potentially, and I think he needs to be given the game time. You know, last season we barely used him, and all we've done in the summer is bring in a top class right winger. So the opportunities are going to be far
Yeah.
less, and I think he needs a loan. But as I say, I'm really not fussed about the club. As long as he's getting the minutes. You know, I look at Palistri, he went to Deportivo, and it's not the most
I'm excited
prestigious
by
club, but at
that.
the same
I'm
time, it's going
excited.
to be playing regularly,
I'm going to be
and I'm
keeping an
really
eye out
happy
for
with
come back.
that. Yep. And to Heath Chong going to Birmingham City, I know a lot of people wanted him to get a move to a better tier club. He's going to get regular minutes. That's all I care about.
In a
Just the
way,
game time because they're coming back to us. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
if he goes to Crystal Palace and they win the FA Cup, I don't mind. He's coming to United anyway. As long as if he, it's almost like if he went to a really good team and didn't play and then came back to us, I wouldn't be fussed. But
Fine.
if he went to a lesser team, got plenty of minutes, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I think the thing with me is that I'd rather him go to, for example, Chong. Chong's gone on loan now. Where did he go last season? He went to Bruges. He went to
Werder Bremen at
Werder
first, and
Bremen.
then
That
he went
was
to
it.
Bruges in
Yeah.
the second half, and he
So
won the Belgian league. So
I think the thing is, he can go to these clubs, but he didn't necessarily get that many minutes of Werder Bremen, did he? And I think it's better to go to, for example, he's gone to Birmingham, which is in a lower division. It's all Championship. It's a very hard league, very physical for him as well. He's not necessarily the biggest player in the world, but I think him to go there and get 20 games maybe this season, 25 games this season, it's going to be much better for his development. And I'd rather see the same thing happen to Ahmad. I would, he's been links about him to going back to Atlanta. Do I want him to go there? No, be honest with you. I just think I'd rather him go to a club which he's going to play 25, 20 games a season. I'm not really fussed about what club. Palace, as you said, Sheffield United. I'd take Sheffield United. I really would. They're struggling for creativity. Give him a go. Honestly, just loan him out, get him some game time, and yeah, let him improve and return back to United next season stronger.
definitely. I think I'd look at Jimmy Garner from last season. You know, Watford got promoted to the Premiership, but it wasn't really working out. He goes to Nottingham Forest, who are about mid-table in the Championship, and he was absolutely amazing. It's all about working out. But I think one player who possibly is past the loaning stage now, though, is Jesse Lingard. And there's been a few hints from Darren Randolph across social media. I think it is time for him to leave. I love Lingard. Every United fan should. He's a great guy. He's a great player. But at the same time, I'm looking at our team, our first 11. I'm looking at the 9 players we can now name on the bench. It doesn't make either of those. For a player of his quality, he's 29 in December. He can get in the England team. He's shown that last season. He's good enough to be in the England squad. I think he should be playing. And whether it's at West Ham, I know Everton and Leicester have come in for him as well. I think it's the right time for him to move on.
What I would say is that I almost want him to work. I want it to work because I like seeing him play, and I really do love Jesse. But he needs to leave for his own for his own good. He'll come back to United this season. He had a fantastic season last year, and he's definitely excited to come back and play more football. And he won't get the minutes he wants, and that will be the worst part for him because he'll think, "Why am I not getting game time? Slot me in on the right," and he doesn't suit the system on the right. He doesn't suit it when he plays off the left. He kind of suits it playing as a secondary striker and behind number 9. I get that, but that's what 3, 4 games a season, and if I'm perfectly honest, he probably should be moved on. And we're looking at signing a DM. We need cash. Apparently, there's rumours of like we need money every so often. money injected from every so often, and obviously we can't just have constant expenditure without any income. And players like him and other players that don't necessarily going to get game time need to leave. And Lingard's the biggest poker chip of the lot. He is going to be bringing in the biggest cash. And to move on to West Ham, Leicester, as much and they would annoy me because he's going to clubs which are going to potentially cause us issues in the season. I think it suits him. And if I was thinking just what's best for him, I think West Ham would be the best move for us. But in terms of what we're getting the money back from a club, Leicester maybe. I mean, I'm not even being funny. Arsenal should actually knock on the door because they need creativity.
He'd start for Arsenal.
Yeah, he will.
I think he's the perfect player to play in that free role in the number 10. Because that's the thing. I mean, we've got Donny, Bruno, and Juan Mata in that position. He's I'd love him to stay, but I think he could do wonders for there. I think Leicester, now that Arsenal, I believe, are signing Odegaard, I think that's going to happen. I don't think Maddison is going to go anywhere, so that possibly rules out Lingard's transfer to Leicester. But I think at Everton, you'd argue he could be their best player. I really do think he could go into that Everton side and become their best player. I know they've been linked for a little while, but again, I hope it's West Ham. I just hope he gets, because he loved that club, and I think the fans really appreciated him. He got on well with a lot of the players like Declan Rice. So
it's just
I think that's
sense to me.
Yeah, from a cynical Man United point of view as well, he's going to leave on a free next summer. So it's tough to say. I don't think Man United are going to sign him on a new contract. So if United are not going to show that sort of loyalty towards him to say you're in our plans, you might as well let him leave. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Before because at the point you don't want them to become unsellable. We're talking 20, 30 million is what the price fee that people are talking about. Can you imagine saying that last summer? Lingard would go for 20, but you wouldn't have said that at all. But then he's had that loan at West Ham. He's shown what people can do. I'm being very cynical here, but in terms of his value, which is obviously Man United like to talk about money, this is possibly the highest fee you'll be able to get for him.
It's almost like what we would have sold him for 2 seasons after he had that really good season, 17-18. It's almost like what we could have sold him for when Ole came in. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. But there's one player though who I don't think his value is ever going to rise again. But Flamengo seem to have agreed terms with Andres Pereira. Obviously, he loves Brazil. He's Brazilian. I think it's going to be a loan deal. There was talk of a loan till December 2022. I would talk about Lingard struggling to get into the Man United team. Andres Pereira is just a different kettle of fish. In terms of the midfield position, he must be about 9th or 10th choice. He's just not going to get a game from him. I like Pereira, the pre-season Perlo, as a lot of people nickname him. He scored the best goal of the season against Brentford. That was unbelievable, I'd swear, but I don't want to. That was just unbelievable. And again, I like Pereira. I have no issues with him. He's a good guy. He's just not up to the level of Manchester United. I mean, it's night and day, really, the difference between him and Fernandes, Donny van de Beek, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard as well. I don't want him in the pivot. I just don't think he does that at all. So I think it's best for him to move on. It's one of these transfers. I don't really care about the transfer fee. I'm not going to be bothered if Man United get 5 million, if they get 10 million, if they get 15 million. I just think he needs to move on for his career. And from a Man United point of view, just give him football. He deserves it.
I think when Andres came through, actually Andres and Joel Pereira both came through. I was very excited for both of them. I remember playing FIFA 14 career mode. Honestly, it was really early on.
I thought they were brothers initially. You know that?
Yeah.
When we had 2 young Pereiras coming through from the academy side, I thought, they must be brothers. No,
yeah, I thought the same thing as well. And Andreas in particular, I played him a lot in my career mode, and obviously that's where the whole fascination really started, about youth players. But I remember watching him grow, and when he played in United's team, when we were really struggling for fitness, and he played DM, that's when it was a really dark point. Jesus Christ. When he's starting to get game time around then, and he kept trying to play balls through, he couldn't do it. When he was out to the left, he's got kind of like a good creative final ball when it comes in, from whipping a cross in. Other than that, the guy is genuinely. It's just no point having him around the club, and he takes up this wage slot. And he apparently he did impress at Lazio, and Lazio not Lazio.
His Lazio was that last season. He's been at Granada, Lazio, another Spanish team.
Apparently he did impress at Lazio. I don't know why. I don't know how.
Valencia, that was it.
Yeah, I think he should leave to another league, because if I'm honest, he kind of seems like he wants to actively move deeper into the team. Kind of looks like he wants to drop into the pivot. You don't suit a Premier League pivot, mate. You just don't. And a bit of a slower league, maybe. a bit of a I'm not saying I'm going to say less quality, but a different style of league probably suits him more. And I think at a moment where he could actually pick his head up and not rush a pass, I think he'd be a lot better off. And picking up a 5, 8 to 10 million pound fee for a player which looks completely useless to United, it's cashing the pot. And again, it's all in towards that effort of that DM, and I want a new DM, and he's not the one.
Yep, I think that sums up perfectly. To be honest, it's just I think it's time for him to move on.
I think the thing is that I was watching him in pre-season, and every single time I watched him, I was just like, yep, come on, you're moving the ball around them. You're somehow edging him on, just, come on, yeah, move the ball. It's kind of like, it feels like what he is. He's still 20, but the guy's 5 years old. Yeah, he's like literally. He feels like he's still a youth player. It just feels like he hasn't moved on from when he first came through the academy. And I don't know if that's just because we've not seen him play enough, but he just hasn't really improved past that point.
I think that's bang on. He seems like a player much younger than he actually is, whereas in reality he's about the same age as Bruno Fernandes. Do you know Fernandes turns 27 this year?
That's mad.
And then Pereira turns 20. I think Fernandes is either August this month or perhaps next month in September. He turns 27, and Pereira turns 26 in January. So
I always think Bruno's older than he is.
Yeah.
I think Bruno's older.
He's ridiculous. Yeah, Bruno is younger than he is, but then again, Pereira's a lot older than a lot of people make out as well. He's older than McTominay, etc.
Oh my God. Let's sell him. Sell him now.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Tyler Blackett back at the club than him play again.
And on that note,
right, so we should be back soon. We've got more content coming up. We've got where does Pogba fit into the squad? Where will Greenwood be by May? Will he be starting every game? Will he still a bench option?
the top scorer in the Premier League.
We're gonna finish first. Literally, please. I really hope we even put up a fight this season. There's so many clubs that could win it. Anyway, we'll see you guys later. I hope we win, and it's going to be 3-1. Struan, you're wrong. Goodbye.